Chapter 71. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hospital.in the VIP ward. When Wei Xing opened his eyes vaguely, he smelled a faint smell of disinfectant at the tip of his nose, and the dazzling white color was in sight. He was lying on the bed, and there was pain all over his body. Xiaoxing, you woke up. That's great. Are you okay? Doctor, go call the doctor. An anxious shout came from beside him. Wei Xing saw Wei Jiaoyang, Du Sihui, Wei Linlang and others were all there, and Ji Peng, Xia Sisi and others were all in the ward. It seemed that the news of his accident had spread, which attracted so many people to visit. He opened his mouth and wanted to say something. A middle-aged doctor in a white coat hurried forward to check. After confirming that he was fine, he said in a businesslike manner, "Mrs. Wei, your son just fainted due to a violent impact. He may have a slight concussion and abrasions, but there are no other injuries. He will be fine after a few days of rest." That's great. Wei Jiaoyang and others breathed a sigh of relief. After sending the doctor away, Ji Peng was the first to sigh. You are so unlucky, aren't you? You can encounter such a coincidence. It's really a ghost. Yeah. Should I go to a master to calculate and get a peace amulet to take home? Why am I so unlucky? Xia Sisi also complained. It's not an accident. Wei Xing panted heavily, his voice was hoarse, and his eyes were full of fear. Someone wants to kill me, this is not an accident. Kill you? That everyone was stunned. Wei Xing grabbed everyone's arms casually and said in panic, yes, it's definitely not an accident. Whether it's Ji Peng who almost fell to death, Sisi who almost disfigured, or me who almost got blown to death, it was all man-made. Hiss, there were bursts of gasps in the ward. Fuck, no way. Are you saying someone wants to kill the three of us? Ji Peng jumped up and exclaimed first. We didn't offend anyone. Xia Sisi said with a puzzled look on her face, who has a deep hatred to kill us? It doesn't make sense. Could it be Wei Hong? Ji Peng said confidently, he must be jealous of your recent glory and wants to cut off the roots, and our closeness to you has aroused his jealousy. Don't say that, uncle and aunt are still here. Xia Sisi hurriedly pulled. Wei Xing opened his mouth and was about to say something. Wei Jiaoyang frowned and interrupted, I know what you want to say. In fact, I have called the police during the half-day from the time you had the accident to the time you fell into a coma. The police, fire department, and power company have all arrived at the scene to investigate, and they all agreed that it was an accident. The wires were aging and short-circuited, and the current dripped into the sewer along the water. The sewer accumulated a lot of methane due to the fermentation of various garbage, so it was ignited by electric sparks and caused an explosion. From the on-site investigation and video surveillance, there is no trace of human intervention at all, so the claim of murder is untenable, and the police will not file a case. Wei Xing still didn't quite believe it, but Wei Jiaoyang was so sure, he could only suppress the topic and prepare to find someone to investigate it later. He had a hunch that Wei Hong must have attacked him this time. Although there was no evidence at all, he still dared to conclude. Fuck, where is my luck? Wei Xing took the time to glance at the system properties panel. I saw that his originally rich luck points were directly reduced by more than half at this moment. Isn't it just an explosion? The bulletproof car didn't even break the glass. How can a little scratch on the skin deduct so much luck? Wei Xing murmured with an ugly face. The mechanical voice of the system sounded in his mind, Host, this explosion should have directly detonated the fuel tank. The luck in the dark helped you survive. Fuck, Wei Xing's face was complicated, and he didn't know whether to cry or laugh. He was very glad that he survived, but he couldn't help but feel pain at such a high price. What's next? Will the sharp drop in luck lead to a decline in stock returns? Xiaoxing, don't think too much. Ji Peng saw that he didn't look very good, and hurriedly comforted him. The three of us are brothers in distress. We are all unlucky, but fortunately, it's not a big deal. Just be careful in the future. Hee. Wei Xing smiled bitterly and shook his head, not knowing how to explain it. Could it be that the three of them were all people with great luck, and they were able to survive only because their luck was offset? It was not convenient to tell others about this kind of thing, so he could only wait and investigate carefully later. Shaoxing is fine, stay in the hospital for the next few days. Wei Jiaoyang reminded, remember to take good care of yourself, don't worry too much, your eldest sister will take care of the affairs of the group. Wei Xing immediately hesitated and said, Dad, how about withdrawing the investment from the second financial department first? I feel that something is wrong these days, and my luck is a little bad. Oh, Wei Jiaoyang immediately became serious when he heard it. The second department of finance relies on Wei Xing's luck to make money. If he says that he has bad luck now, won't it delay making money? Are you sure? Wei Jiaoyang said unwillingly, recently, many powerful and wealthy businessmen have come to us to invest. The newly established private equity fund has attracted billions of investments, and it has achieved a 6% profit in just over a week. This profit is simply ecstatic. How many people can't get this interest even if they deposit money in the bank for a year, and we are like a hen that lays golden eggs. I don't know how many people are chasing after us. If we stop and withdraw our investment at this time, won't we lose all our previous efforts? And how can we explain to investors? Wei Xing was a little speechless for a while. He regretted even more in his heart. He shouldn't have made such a big fuss. Now he is really riding a tiger and it's hard to get off. Dad, I really have bad luck. Wei Xing couldn't help but continue to persuade, otherwise, you wouldn't be unlucky enough to encounter such an explosion, right? How about pausing for a while and waiting for my luck to get better before continuing? No. Wei Linlang refused first, absolutely can't pause, you can rest in the hospital for a while if you have bad luck. It's a bull market recently. There are so many highly educated talents watching in the second department of finance. There will be no mistakes. Yes. Wei Jiaoyang was reluctant to spit out the fat meat he had just swallowed, so he decided on the spot, you are now in the hospital. The second department of finance has your eldest sister watching, and there are many financial doctors who have returned from studying abroad. The recent good market is a good opportunity to make money. Wei Xing saw that he couldn't persuade them and had to give up. He still felt a little uneasy in his heart. This uneasiness was like the sixth sense before the explosion. He always felt that the second department of finance would also explode. Now the stall is too big, what should I do if it explodes? System, is there a way to quickly improve my luck? My luck is too low now, and I can't continue to attract money. Wei Xing complained in his heart. The system replied indifferently, no, the host can only rely on the opportunity to get close to the people around him and slowly absorb the luck. Damn, Wei Xing's face became even uglier. Now he is in a dilemma and can only comfort himself that nothing will happen. Chapter 72. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 7 days later. On the day Wei Xing was discharged from the hospital, he had 3 more investigation reports in his hand. This was the report he obtained after a detailed investigation by hiring 3 well-known private detectives at a high price. 2 of them believed that it was just an accident. Only the last report showed that there were doubts about the explosion. Methane. Wei Xing looked ugly. The report pointed out that the concentration of methane in the explosion was too high, obviously exceeding the concentration of methane in the general sewer. It is possible that someone deliberately injected a large amount of methane into the sewer, which eventually caused the explosion, but they can't find more evidence for the time being. It is obviously not feasible to let the police file a case based on this suspicion. Very professional. Wei Xing felt his scalp tingling. No matter how stupid he was, he could guess that it was Wei Hong who was attacking him. Although the other party might not be involved in person, he must have hired a professional team to carry out this difficult and brain-burning assassination operation. In places like China where guns are banned, this kind of accidental assassination is even more difficult to prevent, because you have no idea when the enemy will attack, and you have no idea what is around you that will take your life in an instant. As the saying goes, the fear of the unknown is the most frightening. In the evening of that day, the Wei family villa was decorated with lights and colors. In order to celebrate Wei Xing's discharge from the hospital, Wei Jiaoyang had the servants prepare a welcoming banquet early. The table was filled with all kinds of exquisite dishes, each of which was appetizing. Wei Jiaoyang raised his glass and said, "It is a great event that Shaoxing is discharged from the hospital today. Let's have a drink together and wish him good health." "Yes, have a drink." "Thank you, Mom and Dad, thank you, Sister." Du Sihui and Wei Linlang raised their glasses quickly. Wei Xing pretended to be moved and raised his glass. The family was happy, and only Wei Hong was left alone. After 3 rounds of wine and 5 dishes, Wei Xing began his own performance. He looked like he wanted to say something but stopped, but his inner voice sounded in the ears of the Wei family members at the right time. Alas! Should I question my eldest brother? The private detective has found that the concentration of methane in the sewer was too high at the time of the explosion. It is obvious that someone deliberately tampered with it, and the spearhead was pointed directly at my eldest brother. Why does he want to kill me? Woo, I'm so scared. What should I do now? Forget it, after all, we are a family. It is not good to question my eldest brother directly without solid evidence. I'd better be careful next time. The atmosphere at the table suddenly changed. Everyone in the Wei family looked up in disbelief. A pair of eyes looked at Wei Hong with disgust or anger. In the past, every time Wei Xing used his inner voice to frame him, his family always looked at him with this look. Although there has been some change during this period, this time when it comes to a murder case, they can't help but use the same trick again. Bang! Wei Jiaoyang slammed the table, frightening the servants at home, and the anger on his face almost burned through people. "Little beast, is it you?" "What do you mean?" Wei Hong raised his eyebrows knowingly. Why is Chairman Wei inexplicably angry? Is it menopause? I'm not your son, don't yell at me for no reason. Don't change the subject. Wei Jiaoyang pointed at him and said angrily, "Did you find someone to do Shaoxing? Are you crazy?" Wei Hong sneered, "What is Chairman Wei talking about? I don't understand." "Pretend. You can continue to pretend." Wei Linlang also joined the battle, sneering, "Dare to do it but not to take responsibility, is this the ability of young Master Wei? Don't forget that you have a criminal record. Have you forgotten the last time you hired someone to kill someone?" Wei Hong chuckled and didn't care. He wiped his fingers slowly and asked jokingly, "What if you admit it? What if you don't admit it? How about you call the police?" Wei Jiaoyang and Wei Linlang, father and daughter, were immediately furious. Even Du Sihui was disappointed, as if he had done something despicable and shameless. Seeing this, Wei Xing hurriedly tried to smooth things over. "Dad, Mom, Sister, don't be angry. I was wrong before, big brother, let's reconcile." Reconcile? Wei Hong was so happy as if he heard a joke. In his previous life, he was killed and his entire family was wiped out. Can such a deep hatred be reconciled? Although all this has not happened in this life, but how many black pots has Wei Xing taken for framing him over and over again in the past few months? Now he wants to let the matter go with just one word of reconciliation. Wei Hong stared at him, sarcastically saying word by word, "What do you want? We can only fight to the death in this life. I can move out of the Wei family, or I can quit the group management and resign from the position of vice president." Wei Xing hurriedly said, "As long as I can do it, you can ask for it. If you die, we can reconcile." Wei Hong's merciless words once again angered Wei Jiaoyang and others. The two sides were on the verge of a fight. Wei Hong casually raised his hand to look at his watch, and chuckled, "You have time to blow your beard and glare at me, you might as well think about how to deal with the next trouble. It is now 8 o'clock in the evening Beijing time. The US stock market will open in 2.5 hours. It's not too late for you to have fun then." "What do you mean?" Wei Jiaoyang and others were stunned, and all realized that something was wrong. Wei Hong has always been a man who never misses a target. He would never take a little provocation seriously, but now he is so confident that everyone can even read a hint of playfulness in his eyes. Is there going to be a problem with the US stock market? Not good. Wei Jiaoyang's face changed drastically, and he quickly lowered his voice and said, "Once there is a problem with the US stock market, it will definitely involve the global stock market. We have just invested a large sum of money in the stock market. No one can afford to have trouble at this time. Go check it out. Okay. Wei Linlang took out her cell phone with a cold sweat. Wei Xing's heart skipped a beat and thought it was not good. Anyone who knows a little about finance should know that once there is a little disturbance in the US stock market, the global stock market will be affected. They have invested a lot in the A share market during this period. If something happens, it will be a big loss. Dad, it's okay. Wei Xing smiled and comforted. It's a bull market recently, how could there be any problems? Brother is just joking with us. That's right. Wei Jiaoyang nodded and agreed. Almost all stocks bought recently are profitable, most stocks on the market are rising, and your hospitalization has no impact at all these days. We still caught several stocks with daily limit, and there is no possibility of problems. That's right. Wei Xing turned his head and said righteously, Brother, you can understand that you want to deal with me, but the group business is the lifeblood of the family. You can't say that the grapes are sour and deliberately spread rumors to scare us, right? Ha! Idiot, Wei Hong sneered and said nothing more. They will not give up until they reach the Yellow River. But no matter how much they don't believe it, they can't change the facts. The stock market crash is coming soon. Chapter 73. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time passed by minute by minute. Because of Wei Hong's words, the atmosphere of this welcoming banquet became solemn. After Wei Linlang dialed 7 or 8 phone calls in succession, he frowned and sat back at the table, sneering, Dad, don't listen to some people's nonsense. I asked my classmates and friends in the United States. Now all major financial experts are very optimistic about the US stock market. There is no room for turbulence at all. Wei Jiaoyang and others all breathed a sigh of relief when they heard this. Then, all kinds of disgusted questioning eyes shot straight at him again. Wei Xing pretended to be regretful and said, Brother, you didn't come up with rumors to scare us because the murder was exposed. Huh, some people are broken. Wei Linlang also sneered. 80% of them saw that our private equity fund has made too much money recently, so they are jealous. They hired murderers and spread rumors to cause trouble. It's ridiculous. Wei Hong, why did you become like this? Du Sihui finally choked out a word, her eyes full of disappointment. Wei Hong saw that everyone was about to attack him again, and waved his hands impatiently. Okay, believe it or not, I'm too lazy to talk nonsense, just wait. Everything will be clear when the US stock market opens at 10:30 p.m. This? The Wei family members were inevitably suspicious again. Did he really get some news? Otherwise, how could they be so sure? Xiao Hong, if you have inside information, why didn't you tell me earlier? Du Sihui said tangledly, Wei Group is also the hard work of your grandfather. Can you bear to see the group lose money? Why can't I bear it? The group is no longer the original Wei Group. I can't wait to destroy it. Wei Hong sneered and said jokingly, don't you believe it? Keep celebrating. The atmosphere became solemn again. On one side was his sure prediction, and on the other side was the news that everything was calm. Wei Jiaoyang and others didn't know who to believe, and Wei Hong just liked to see them in great pain. The stock market crash will indeed break out tonight. Due to the time difference, it is morning in the United States now. 10:30 p.m. is the opening time for the U.S. stock market, and 2 hours before the opening, the Federal Reserve will announce the news of the interest rate hike. In just a few dozen minutes on the same day, the U.S. stock market will rise to the daily limit on a large scale. The high interest rate will attract global funds to converge on the U.S. stock market, forming a financial tide that sweeps the world. The stock market crash broke out. Shares will also be greatly affected, and will plummet wildly in a very short period of time. The stock market, which was nearly halved, trapped many large and retail investors. It made countless people wail everywhere, and also made countless people want to jump off the building and commit suicide. Before this, Wei Hong had quietly dispersed all his funds. In major international funds, he started shorting with leverage. Once the stock market crash breaks out, he will earn countless wealth from it. Ding-ling-ling. Wei Linlang's mobile phone suddenly rang. She glanced at the phone number. her face changed and she immediately picked it up. She spoke to the other party in a fluent London accent. After a while, her face darkened a little bit, as if she had heard some bad news. Her lips were already bloodless. "Dad, something happened." Wei Linlang swallowed her saliva in fear and murmured, "The Fed is going to raise interest rates." "What?" Wei Jiaoyang stood up in surprise. Many cups and plates on the dining table were knocked to the ground. After a series of crisp sounds, they broke all over the floor, making a mess. But no one cares about it now. Everyone was shocked by the news of the Fed's interest rate hike. Anyone who knows a little about finance knows that the Fed's interest rate hike means a financial storm will break out. Now that Wei's group has invested a lot of money in A shares, who can take the responsibility if something happens? Impossible, this is absolutely impossible, Wei Xing murmured with a look of astonishment. He recalled that during this period of time, Wei Hong had been watching them make money with a cold eye, quietly watching them kill all sides in the stock market without any action, after everything is connected. He found that he seemed to have fallen into a trap. The other party clearly wanted him to invest more money in the stock market. "You bastard, are you plotting against us?" Wei Xing slammed the table in anger, no longer pretending to be kind and gentle as usual, and his face was even a little ferocious. Wei Hong raised his eyebrows and chuckled. "Plot? Did I force you to invest money in the stock market? Did I force you to make a big fanfare to attract other rich people to buy private equity funds? You will always find excuses for your failure. What a waste." "You." Wei Xing was furious, but his heart was full of panic. He didn't dare to imagine what would happen if the stock market was turbulent. What will be the end? He dared not think about how to clean up the mess. Now he only felt cold hands and feet. A huge fear surrounded him from all directions, whether it was Wei Hong's perfect plan to trap him, or the sewer explosion that almost killed him. One by one, he was powerless to resist. This kind of despair of being crushed by high IQ is unimaginable for ordinary people. At this moment, Wei Xing felt like an ant that could be crushed to death at any time. Impossible, absolutely impossible. I have a system. I am the son of destiny. I am destined to have great luck and smooth sailing. How could I be successfully calculated again and again? Wei Xing gritted his teeth and almost collapsed. Wei Jiaoyang and his daughter and Du Sihui also looked terrified. They were worried about the stock price. Can Wei Group survive this storm? Little beast. Wei Jiaoyang gasped for air and swallowed half a bottle of quick-acting heart pills before he recovered. He gritted his teeth and said, "You knew there would be a stock market crash, but you still watched us fall into the pit. You are so cruel. From today on, I don't have you as a son. It's boring to say these nonsense every day, right?" Wei Hong scratched his ears and gloated, "You don't think I still treat you as relatives, do you?" Wei Jiaoyang and Du Sihui were shocked. At this moment, they really understood in their hearts that Wei Hong had long been ruthless. He no longer regarded them as parents, but as strangers who wished them dead. In the past, they could still deceive themselves, but now they can't deceive themselves at all. They have indeed been completely abandoned by this son. "How dare you?" Du Sihui murmured sadly, "We are your parents. Why are you pretending? Think about how this will end." Wei Hong's words directly shattered their sad atmosphere, making everyone panic. The stock market crash is coming. Can Wei Group escape? The second financial department has just invested billions in the stock market. Little beast, you are going to kill us. Wei Jiaoyang gritted his teeth and said, "Just wait. Dad, don't worry." Wei Linlang comforted, "It will take time for the stock market crash to affect the shares. We have every chance to flee our funds. We will never let this bastard laugh at us. Yes, we will be fine." Wei Xing murmured with lifeless eyes. Chapter 74. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This night that is destined to be a sleepless night. As expected, the news of the Fed's interest rate hike still caused a sensation. The U.S. stock market soared wildly that day, and investors from all over the world also received the news one after another. In the chaos, funds from all over the world poured into the U.S. stock market for refuge, while the domestic stock market plummeted wildly. Wei Jiaoyang, his daughter and Wei Xing also did not sleep all night. They returned to the group headquarters overnight to hold an emergency meeting. A large number of financial experts pondered how to overcome the difficulties. As a result, the private equity funds under the name of Wei Group's financial department too just opened the next day, and dozens of stocks fell off a cliff. Even if Wei Xing and others wanted to sell, no one dared to take over, and various emergency plans fell through, in the office of the financial department too at the group headquarters. A group of senior manipulators were anxiously selling shares, but there was no effect after the continuous operation, and many people were so angry that they wanted to smash the keyboard. Mr. Wei. A trader frowned and said, I can't sell it. Many stocks have hit the limit now. If we only sell a small number of stocks, we may be able to sell them. But if we want to sell such a large amount, no one will take it. Yes, we have already lowered the price, but all the stocks have plummeted since the opening. No one dares to buy it. Fuck. It's estimated that thousands of stocks will hit the limit today. Look. Damn, it's a stock market crash, it's definitely a super stock market crash. I have invested millions of savings in the stock market. I wanted to make a fortune, but now it's all gone. Everyone sighed. The internet and various media also published news about the once-in-a-millennium stock market crash, the conspiracy theory of the Federal Reserve's interest rate hike, etc. appeared everywhere. For a time, stockholders were in mourning, and the internet was also hot. The A-share market was all green. 90% of stock prices were plummeting. Even more than one-third of stocks hit the limit. Among them, the dozens of stocks that Wei Xing had selected before naturally suffered heavy losses. Not only did they all fall into his hands, but all the profits he had earned in the past were lost in one day, and even the principal was difficult to take out. What should we do now? Wei Jiaoyang roared while slamming the table, and looked around with red eyes. You all either claim to be top students of finance at Harvard University, or claim to have work experience on Wall Street. Now you are helpless when you encounter a situation. What's the point of the group supporting you? Mr. Wei. A financial analyst in a well-dressed suit frowned and retorted, this is a stock market crash, not a small storm. Under the magnificent trend, we are all eggs in an overturned nest. Many countries cannot compete. How can a few analysts change the overall situation? What do you say we should do now? Wei Jiaoyang asked in anger. Wait. The financial analyst pushed his glasses on the bridge of his nose and said seriously, all large companies are plummeting in the stock market crash, and only a few banks and other stocks are still strong. We can either continue to increase investment and wait for the bottom, or wait until the first wave of the stock market crash is over and choose to sell at a loss and leave. Wei Jiaoyang is not a fool, so he naturally understands the implication. Other larger corporate groups are helpless in the stock market crash. What big waves can a small Wei group make? At this time, all stockholders are panicking. Either they hold on for 4 or 5 years and wait for the stock market to pick up, or they bet that the country will have policies to save the market. In short, they will lose money no matter what. Will the country introduce policies to save the market in the later stage? Wei Linlang asked with a frown. It's hard to say. The financial analyst shook his head and sighed. As long as it doesn't particularly affect the economic environment, the upper level usually doesn't intervene. In the past, some people also bet everything on the stock market crash, hoping that the country would rescue the market, but the result was that they could only get stuck more tightly. It's over. Wei Xing collapsed on the chair. His face was full of despair and frustration, and he just wanted to find a crack in the ground to crawl into. How glorious he was some time ago, how embarrassing it is now. Originally, he wanted to take advantage of his luck to kill all sides and make a lot of money in the stock market, and by the way, he controlled the entire circle of rich people in Jiangzhou City, so that countless people begged him to take them to invest. Now it's all in vain. He still has to face accountability and abuse from all sides, which makes people's scalps numb just thinking about it. Now Wei Xing, Wei Linlang, and Wei Jiaoyang dare not turn on their mobile phones, because once they turn on the phone, there will be countless calls asking about the situation, and they don't know how to respond. Chairman. A female secretary came running over and said anxiously, Boss Li, Boss Lu and others came here in a hurry and are now clamoring to see you. Ah, Wei Jiaoyang sighed, his old face flushed with embarrassment. You don't need to guess what kind of scene he will face later. Think about all this, it was like a dream. Wei Group inexplicably started to invest in the stock market, inexplicably suffered a stock market crash, and inexplicably dragged a lot of people into the water. Everything seemed to be blamed on Wei Hong, and it seemed to be blamed on Wei Sheng. Wei Jiaoyang was in a very complicated mood, and he didn't know who to blame in the end. Dad, let me deal with them. Wei Linlang said with a stiff face, this stock market crash came too suddenly, no one expected this to happen. It's right for the uncles and aunts who invested money to be angry, but they can't be too embarrassed about me, a junior. Let me go, everything is my fault. Wei Xing stood up to take the blame, showing his fearlessness, and began to silently output in his heart, woo woo woo, I must take this matter, even if I am scolded by uncles and aunts, I must not let my father and sister suffer. The eyes of Wei Jiaoyang and his daughter softened instantly. In fact, they blamed him a little in their hearts, but Wei Xing had a golden finger, and this guy kept regretting in his heart. The two of them couldn't help but feel soft-hearted after hearing so much, so they were embarrassed to blame him. I'll go. Wei Jiaoyang sighed, stood up tiredly and said, everyone knows that investment is risky, but I'm just upset about the money I lost. I'll risk my old face to make amends to him, and then let a few valuable projects go out, and this matter can still be settled. After a few words. He seemed to have aged more than 10 times, even his back seemed to be a little hunched. Wei Linlang looked so sad that she almost cried. Suddenly, an idea came to her mind. If the family hadn't fallen out with Wei Hong, could this matter have been avoided? The answer is yes. This guy is extremely sensitive to the financial trend, he can even predict the stock market crash. Isn't it easy to help the family avoid this disaster? It's a pity that she didn't grasp such a great brother. Instead, he favored a fake brother who brought the group into trouble. Wei Linlang felt a little regretful, and inevitably felt a little resentful towards Wei Sheng. Chapter 75. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the next few days, whether it was the Wei family villa or the Wei group, they were all in a gloomy atmosphere. Not only were the employees silent, fearing that they would displease the top management, even the servants at home were cautious and did not dare to offend the Wei family. The market value of the Wei group evaporated under the outbreak of the stock market crash. In addition to the money lost in the private equity fund and the pressure from various wealthy and powerful people, Wei Jiaoyang was exhausted and unable to cope. He started to go out early and come back late every day. He was embarrassed and tired all over. Wei Linlang was also held accountable by the board of directors for the project investment mistakes. She and Wei Sheng were both dismissed. For a time, the siblings almost became the laughing stock of the upper circles in Jiangzhou City, and the Wei group also had a faint decline, but a lean camel is bigger than a horse after all. No matter how useless Wei Jiaoyang is, as long as he doesn't make more mistakes, he can still barely maintain his dignity as the richest man in Jiangzhou. For this reason, many people are willing to give him face. The private equity fund loss has been a fuss for a few days, and it has gradually subsided. Wei Hong is happy to see this happen. He just wants to see Wei Jiaoyang and others fall. Before he develops himself, he naturally doesn't want the Wei group to go bankrupt too early. The 5th day of the stock market crash, Wei Hong decisively sold all the overseas short-selling funds. Before the stock market crash, he invested 450 million yuan in the international fund market, equivalent to $63 million. In more than a month, through continuous buying and selling, he almost tripled the funds to $154 million. During the stock market crash, Wei Hong shorted with 50 times leverage. $154 million instantly became $7.7 billion on the books. After 5 days, international funds generally fell by half. These funds were scattered in multiple funds for short selling, with the highest return reaching about 41%, and the lowest return reaching 32%. The final total return of 7.7 billion funds on Wei Hong's books reached 37.4%. In other words, $154 million turned into $2.88 billion in just a few days, a full 18.7 times, which is about 20.6 billion renminbi. And his initial capital was only 450 million renminbi. As a result, after rolling around in the international market for more than a month, it actually doubled by 40 to 50 times, reaching more than 20 billion. If it were to be told, it would probably make countless people dumbfounded. Not bad, not bad. In the study, Wei Hong turned off the computer with satisfaction. The money has now been transferred back to his Swiss bank account and can be used at any time. Although he can make some money in the next stock market crash, the big head has been eaten up, and he is too lazy to bother to operate it. Wei Hong was naturally very happy to have jumped from a poor second-generation rich man to a capital giant with 20 billion liquid funds. However, he knew that he should not be too proud and complacent. After all, he had mastered the memory of his previous life, and he could achieve such a level of foresight, and such a lucrative money-making project only happened once. In his previous life, he never encountered a second stock market crash until his death. It is obviously unlikely that he will make such huge profits in the stock market in the future, so these funds cannot be used indiscriminately. They must be invested in an orderly and reasonable manner to make them continue to make money. He pondered for a moment again. Wei Hong took out his mobile phone and sent a few messages. One was sent to Professor K, asking him to temporarily stop his activities and lie dormant, so as not to be caught by others for too frequent activities and affect his future plans. One was sent to Uncle Gong, asking him how the registration of the group was going. Just after the message was sent, Su Maogong called and said, "Master, the Hongxing Group's trademark has been registered, and the registered capital is 10 billion. All approvals, licenses, and certificates are being processed quickly. Don't worry." Okay. Wei Hong smiled with satisfaction. In this case, there is no need to wait for 3 months. Now we can send people to purchase the headquarters building and arrange the office space, and we can officially open for business after the new year. Unknowingly, it's the new year again. It has been more than 3 months since Wei Hong was reborn. In the previous life, he was still being slandered and wronged by Wei Xing every day, trapped in the internal friction of whether his family loved him or not, and trying to please his family for a little ridiculous family affection. In this life, he only spent more than 3 months to accumulate a fortune of 20 billion. And at the same time, he cheated Wei Xing again and again, suppressing his luck within a controllable range. I am no longer the me of my previous life, and he is no longer the him of his previous life. The gap between us will only grow bigger in the future, and he will never be able to jump out of my hands. Wei Hong murmured confidently. That afternoon, Wei Hong stood at the rooftop of the tallest CBD commercial building in the city, surrounded by bodyguards. He looked into the distance and could almost see half of Jiangzhou city. In an instant, his mood became much better. "Nephew Wei, are you sure you want to buy this building?" A middle-aged man dressed as a wealthy businessman asked with disbelief. This man's name is Su Yongqiang. He was also a well-known real estate tycoon in Jiangzhou city in the early years. Many large residential areas and commercial blocks were developed by him. However, he had to sell buildings everywhere to make up for the deficit due to a series of investment failures in recent years. This time Wei Hong came to the door, of course, to buy a building. "Mr. Su." He smiled and said, "Don't be afraid of you laughing at me. My nephew, have also founded a group with a small business. Isn't it missing a group headquarters?" Hiss. Su Yongqiang gasped in shock. Good guy. A 17-year-old high school student wants to start a group. At the same time, he also wants to buy a building as a headquarters building. Are young people now so crazy? Although I already knew that Wei Hong was not simple. But no one expected that he was so simple. You should know that except for a few top companies such as Wei Group, no one in Jiangzhou city can afford a commercial building. Even he himself only borrowed money from the bank to build a building and collect rent for profit. Su Yongqiang tentatively said, "This Tianrun building is currently the tallest and newest commercial building in Jiangzhou city. It has 33 floors and is 127 meters high. The total area is 286,000 square meters and the total construction cost is 1.65 billion. Now I still owe the bank 1.23 billion in loans, plus the annual interest cost, plus the increase in housing prices in recent years. If you want it, you have to give at least 2.1 billion, Wei Hong sneered when he heard this. Boss Su, you are really asking for too much. You don't think I'm young and thin-skinned, so you can just rip me off, right? He shook his head, looking at the whole Jiangzhou city. How many people dare to buy a whole building? And you are in debt, you can't wait to get your money back. Don't say it, nephew. 1.95 billion. 1.8 billion. 1.9 billion. 1.8 billion. Okay, 1.8 billion is 1.8 billion, but it must be paid in one lump sum. I must get the money as soon as possible, that the two bargained for a while. Finally, the ownership of the commercial building was quickly finalized. Chapter 76. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Early the next morning, Wei Hong sent a professional lawyer team to sign a transfer agreement with Su Yongqiang. As soon as the contract was signed, the news inevitably leaked out, and it caused a huge shock in the upper circles of Jiangzhou city. 1.8 billion. Tianrun building changed hands. Fuck, who bought it? So generous. Hongxin Group. Where did this come from? No way. Is the news confirmed? Su Yongqiang is in debt. I'm afraid he can make a big comeback this time, that the senior executives of various companies exclaimed after hearing the news. You know, this is not just a building, this is the headquarters building of a large group, a group that can afford such a large building as its headquarters suddenly rushed into the business district of Jiangzhou City, which is no less than dropping a depth bomb in the lake, and it has a huge impact on every local company, for a while. News from all sides continued to come out. When many people learned from Su Yongqiang himself that the person in charge of the newly established Hongxin Group was Wei Hong, the eldest son of the Wei family, everyone fell silent. Founded the group at the age of 17. Spended 1.8 billion to buy a building as the headquarters. Any one of these is enough to kill the rich and powerful people in Jiangzhou city into scum in an instant, but such a powerful teenager is not favored by the family. At this moment, everyone just wants to ask Wei Jiaoyang if he is mentally retarded. Inside the Wei family villa, the atmosphere is as dull and depressing as ever. Wei Jiaoyang had just cleaned up the trouble caused by the stock market crash and had not slept for several days and nights. Stomachache, high blood pressure and other old problems came together, almost making him seriously ill. As a result, just when he wanted to go home to rest for a few days, various old friends and old buddies called to congratulate him. At first, Wei Jiaoyang was still confused and didn't know what everyone was congratulating him for. When he figured out what was going on, he immediately felt a lump in his throat. He swallowed half a bottle of quick-acting heart pills but couldn't breathe. He almost fainted on the spot. How dare he, little bastard. Wei Jiaoyang was furious. 1.8 billion, this is not a small amount, and what does it mean that Wei Hong founded Hongxin Group himself? Is this to cut ties with Wei Group in public? The Tianrun building he bought is taller and more luxurious than the Wei building. In the past, hundreds of corporate groups had to rent the place together, but he paid the full amount and prepared to use it as the headquarters. How can such courage not shock people? But such a dazzling young man is actually his own son, and a son who has a bad relationship with Wei Jiaoyang. Listening to the gloating congratulations of his old friends, he was almost depressed to the point of vomiting blood. You don't have to guess, you know, many people must be calling him an idiot behind his back, right? Dad, have you heard about it? Wei Linlang pushed the door and walked into the study, asking with a constipated look on her face. Wei Jiaoyang knew what she wanted to say, raised his head and rubbed his temple, depressed. How could I not have heard about it? I don't know where this little beast got such a large amount of money from. Could it be left by the old man? Impossible. Wei Linlang shook his head and said, we know exactly how much assets Grandpa left behind. At most, there are some antiques and paintings left in the bank safe. Could this money be Uncle Gong's? Impossible. Wei Jiaoyang sneered and lit a cigarette, narrowed his eyes and analyzed. Although Su Laogui has made a lot of money in recent years, the fixed assets on hand are at most more than 2 billion, and the working capital may even be only a few hundred million. It is impossible to spend so much money to buy him a building. You know that it costs money to establish a group. Even the top second-generation rich can only rent a building. Wei Hong dares to spend so much money to buy a building, which means that he has more working capital. Hiss. Wei Linlang took a breath of cold air. Think about the fact that the Wei Group is on the verge of collapse because of the stock market crash. All of them have lost all their money, but Wei Hong has made a fortune without anyone noticing, and he dares to set up his own business easily. This guy is really not simple. Dad, did we do something wrong? Wei Linlang said bitterly. If we were not too partial to Shaoxing, Wei Hong would not have fallen out with us. If we hadn't fallen out, he would have earned a lot of face for our family. Now people outside are laughing at us for being blind. Bullshit. Wei Jiaoyang blushed and was full of grief and indignation. He refused to believe that it was his fault. He was only willing to admit that the source of all grievances was Wei Hong's fault. After all, there are no parents who are not right in the world, so how could a son dare to challenge his father? This little beast is really too strong-willed, not as well-behaved as Shaoxing at all. I wish I had never given birth to him in this life. Wei Jiaoyang gritted his teeth and patted the table roared. But what's the use of being well-behaved? Wei Linlang sighed and murmured, Shaoxing is well-behaved, but he didn't help the family at all, and he also cheated us. Wei Hong used to be well-behaved and sensible. The whole family was cherished by him, but we didn't know how to cherish him. Now. Shut up. Shut up. Wei Jiaoyang was so angry that his heart was heaving. After many days of fatigue and various stimulations, he was too excited and finally couldn't help but fell to the ground with dizziness. Dad, are you okay? Dad. Wei Linlang was so scared that she stepped forward to support him, and kept shouting anxiously. The huge noise soon attracted servants and bodyguards. When Du Sihui and Wei Xing also rushed over, the study was already crowded, when everyone was anxious. The family doctor also rushed over after hearing the news. The middle-aged doctor looked at Wei Jiaoyang's eyelids, checked his heartbeat, and finally said anxiously, Mr. Wei is emotionally excited and has long-term high blood pressure, which caused shock and fainting. He must be sent to the hospital immediately. If possible, let Master Wei come over to give him a few injections to ease his condition. Send him to the hospital. Du Sihui ordered everyone with all her strength, and waved to Wei Linlang, go and ask Wei Hong to come over for injections, quickly. Okay. Wei Linlang ran downstairs anxiously. At a glance, she saw Wei Hong mixing drinks in front of the wine cabinet on the first floor. She anxiously stepped forward and grabbed his arm, pulling him upstairs, and said anxiously, quick, Dad fainted, go and save him. Heh. Wei Hong sneered and his body did not move. No matter how Wei Linlang pulled him, he refused to move. He even raised his hand and waved it, shocking her back a few steps. What does your father's fainting have to do with me? Wei Hong smiled coldly and said word by word, do you want me to book a special car for you to the crematorium? You? Wei Linlang was stunned with shock. Du Sihui and others who had just carried the patient downstairs could not help but be stunned when they heard this. This guy is so cruel that he doesn't even care about his own father's life or death. You, how can you be so cruel? Human life is at stake, he is your father. Du Sihui complained with tears, but only got Wei Hong's cold and indifferent eyes, at this moment. The kinship rift expanded infinitely again until it turned into a chasm. Chapter 77. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Renai Hospital.in the VIP ward on the top floor. Wei Jiaoyang was sleeping with a pale face and weakness. Wei Qingqing and several other daughters received the news and rushed back overnight. At this moment, everyone gathered in the ward, and everyone's face was filled with worry and anxiety. Director Wang, is my father okay? Yes, why has he been in a coma for so long and still not awake? That everyone asked at once. Several doctors in white coats checked him out, and the last middle-aged female doctor put away her stethoscope and said, Mr. Wei is just in high blood pressure shock caused by emotional excitement. There is nothing serious at the moment. We have controlled the blood pressure. He will wake up in half a day or a few hours. In addition, after Mr. Wei wakes up, remember to stay in the hospital for a period of time. Don't be too busy at work, stay up late less, and be less emotional, otherwise there may be a risk of cerebral infarction and myocardial infarction in the future. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief when they heard this. After sending the doctor away with many thanks, the fifth sister Wei Qingqing couldn't help complaining, "Mom, eldest sister, how did you take care of Dad? How could he faint all of a sudden?" That the second sister Wei Kailan echoed, "Yes, we were scared to death. I was still negotiating a big project, and I hurriedly bought a plane ticket and ran back." That the other people were also unhappy. Du Sihui opened her mouth to explain, but Wei Xing had already knelt on the ground, and then slapped his cheek fiercely. "Don't blame Mom and eldest sister, everything is my fault, woo woo woo. Xiaoxing, what are you doing? Get up quickly, are you crazy? Why are you hitting yourself? Get up quickly." Everyone helped him up in shock. Wei Xing then burst into tears and said, "It's all my fault that I want to start a private equity fund, which caused my father to lose a lot of money in the stock market. He has been running around these days. I am not a human being. I feel sorry for him. What happened?" Wei Qingqing and others were a little confused. Wei Linlang sighed and told the story in a few words. Finally, she concluded, "In fact, it's not Xiaoxing's fault. How could he have expected the stock market crash to break out? Blame your good brother." At this moment, she remembered Wei Hong's cold and resolute look when her father fainted. She felt a prickly pain in her heart and a hint of resentment. She gritted her teeth and said, "This bastard predicted the stock market crash, but he didn't tell anyone. He watched us suffer without saying a word, and quietly made a lot of money in the stock market crash. Yesterday he bought the largest Tianrun commercial building in the city. It is said that he is also going to set up a company called Hongxing Group. It is clear that he wants to completely cut ties with us." Many people called to laugh at him, and Dad was so angry. If he had given Dad an injection at that time, he might have been able to control the disease quickly, but he watched Dad faint and not only did nothing, but asked if he wanted to call a crematorium car. That the sisters were furious when they heard this. The beautiful faces of several people were full of coldness. Second sister Wei Kailan, "Damn, this ungrateful bastard, I should have drowned him when he was a kid." Sixth sister Wei Xia, "Where is he? I'll go and take care of him now, he's asking for a punishment every day." Fourth sister Wei Ruyan, "Count me in, I'll punish him by making him kneel in the ancestral hall today. They are usually too busy at work and are not often at home." Although they know that Wei Hong's relationship with his family is getting worse and worse, but subconsciously, they still think that he is the easy-to-bully brother, so they are indignant and want to take care of him. Wei Qingqing came back some time ago. She had been treated coldly by Wei Hong many times, so she didn't dare to say anything at this moment. Take care of him?" Wei Linlang said coldly. "Now he is very strong-willed. He always brings 12 bodyguards with him when he travels, and he has at least tens of billions of liquid funds. He even killed Nie Xingyuan, who had been entrenched in Jiangzhou city for many years. What right do you have to take care of him? Do you really think he is still the brother who doesn't fight back or scold you?" In an instant, the ward was silent. Everyone's eyes were filled with confusion and regret. Yes, where did their brother who never fought back or scolded them go? How did the family end up like this? "Please come over, Auntie." Du Sihui's voice was hoarse, her eyes were empty. "We can't afford such a son, kick him out of the Wei family tree." "What?" Everyone gasped in shock. Wei Xing's eyes flashed with ecstasy. "Mom, are you crazy?" Wei Qingqing trembled and said, "It's okay for the family to have a quarrel, but how can you kick him out of the family tree? Isn't this going to completely sever ties?" "Yes, although I don't like this brother, he is the only male in our family after all. If you do this, my aunt won't agree. If the other two aunts know about this, they will definitely scold you to death." Wei Linlang and the others were all shocked, although they didn't like Wei Hong as their younger brother, but they never thought of expelling him from the family tree, right? "We did feel sorry for Wei Hong in the past, but how can a family hold a grudge overnight? We have coaxed him and quarreled with him, what else does he want?" Will he be satisfied only if he kills us? He is so heartless now that he doesn't even care when his own father faints in front of him. We can't afford to raise such a beast. We must completely sever ties with him. Du Sihue's face was full of frost, and she clenched her teeth every word. It is obvious that this speech has been carefully considered. Mom, you can't do this. Wei Xing was obviously happy and wanted to laugh, but he still said sadly, brother just hates me for taking away your love. Everyone should be more tolerant of him. At worst, I can leave the Wei family. Du Sihue made the decision without question, no. It's not you who should leave, but him. Dad won't agree if you do this. Wei Xing reminded weakly. Ahem, a cough sounded on the bed at this time. Wei Jiaoyang, who was in a coma, silently opened his eyes and said in a hoarse voice, I agree. Dad, you woke up. That's great, how are you? Do you want to ask the doctor to come and see? Dad, what did you say, do you agree? My mom is joking, don't get involved. Wei Linlang and others surrounded him. They were concerned and comforted him, fearing that he would make a wrong decision, but Wei Jiaoyang was obviously in a coma and had heard the whole conversation. He took a deep breath and ordered, notify your 2 aunts and your grandmother to come over. I want to kick this unfilial son out of the family and completely sever ties with him. Also, I want to formally write Shaoxing into the family tree and make him a real member of the Wei family. Everyone subconsciously took a breath of cold air, almost doubting their own ears. The 2 elders of the Wei family actually unanimously decided to expel Wei Hong from the family. They were completely heartbroken and ready to break off all ties. Chapter 78. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the next few days, the atmosphere in the Wei family villa became even more depressing. Wei Qingqing, Wei Kailan and others all turned down their work and stayed at home, as if waiting for something big. On the morning of the 3rd day, Wei Qingqing finally couldn't hold it in and found Wei Hong, and reminded him directly, Xiao Hong, you should go to the hospital to beg your father, he wants to expel you from the family tree. Oh. Wei Hong was about to go out to do something. Su Maogong and the bodyguards were waiting outside the door. The group will go to inspect the renovation of the newly purchased building later. Hearing this, he stopped walking, turned around at the entrance and sneered, so, this is why you guys put down all your work and are happy to stay at home and watch the show. We don't want to watch the show, we just want to persuade you. Wei Qingqing sighed and explained quickly, why should a family be so awkward? You really went too far this time. Setting up a group outside is equivalent to announcing your severance of ties with the Wei family, and you didn't save Dad. Mom and Dad are very disappointed in you this time. Then what? Wei Hong asked back indifferently. Don't play dumb. Wei Qingqing was so angry that she felt dizzy and held her forehead, and said depressedly, my parents have now unanimously ordered to invite the 2 aunts and the great aunt to come back. When the time comes, you will be completely expelled from the family tree in front of the whole family. Wei Hong sneered, that's it. Isn't this serious? Wei Qingqing was shocked and widened her eyes. Once you are expelled from the house, what does it mean? Have you thought about the consequences? It means that I will be relieved, it means that I have achieved what I want, and it means that I no longer need to be hypocritical with you stupid pigs, okay? Wei Hong sneered back, and immediately made her dizzy again. At this time, the 2nd sister Wei Kailan and the 3rd sister Wei Chuyan heard the noise and came out. One of them is the CEO of a first-class domestic entertainment company. She is vigorous and resolute in her daily work, and is definitely a standard strong woman. One is a professor and hacker master at Tsinghua University, wise, elegant, intellectual and noble, and is respected and loved by countless students. Both of them are highly intelligent and arrogant, and have long been accustomed to being bossed around. Seeing Wei Hong talking to his sister like this, their brows subconsciously frowned. I was wondering why my parents were so angry. It turns out you are really an ungrateful person. The 2nd sister Wei Kailan scolded coldly, born as a human being, but not grateful for the grace of your parents' upbringing, it is simply unforgivable. Ah, right. Wei Hong scratched his ears and smiled sarcastically. The grace of upbringing you mentioned is that they provided biological materials so that I could be born in the surrogate's belly, and then thrown to my grandfather to raise me? Should I thank the surrogate or thank my grandfather? Just because they produced some sperm and eggs, I deserve to be trampled, insulted, and ignored by you, and I have to suffer all kinds of slander and accusations every day, right? Wei Kailon felt guilty when she heard this. The third sister Wei Chuyan pushed the gold-rimmed glasses on her nose, a trace of disgust flashed in her beautiful eyes, and she sneered, there are no parents who are not right in the world. Why do others only blame you and ignore you? Why don't we get punished by our parents? People should look for the reasons in themselves, and stop complaining about everything. Professor Wei is worthy of being a teacher and educator. He is full of great principles and morality. Wei Hong did not show any weakness and sneered sarcastically, are you going to let me go to the hospital to kneel down and apologize, and then be a filial son in peace? That's right. Wei Chuyan habitually began to preach, we are a family after all, although mom and dad are furious this time, but as long as we are willing to help and plead, you still have a chance to stay in the Wei family. Put your heart back, leave all the business groups you founded outside to dad, and go back to school honestly. You will never lack food in the future. Money can buy a lot of things, but it can't buy family affection. Don't miss the most important thing in your life because of a momentary impulse. Once dad expels you from the family tree, you will be a child without a home. In the future, you will be alone and no one will help you if something happens to you. Wei Chuyan became more and more excited as she spoke, as if she was teaching her students. Haughtiness and contempt were revealed in her eyes, and her mouth was full of condescending instructions. However, Wei Hong's eyes gradually became colder. People will be manipulated only if they care about something, and it is ridiculous that they want to manipulate themselves with family affection. If he knew he was going to be expelled from the family tree in his previous life, Wei Hong would naturally be frightened and terrified to admit his mistakes and beg for mercy. But now, would he care? Have you finished? If you're done, get out. Wei Hong looked disgusted and raised his hand to sweep away all the vases at the entrance. The porcelain shattered with a loud noise, the sound frightened them and they retreated one after another. He was too lazy to say any more nonsense, so he turned around and walked out the door. Wei Chuyan was so angry that her face turned red, and she stamped her feet and said, I wonder how long you can keep your mouth shut. Tomorrow my aunt will be here, and she will definitely deal with you then. If you want to save the relationship, please hurry up, tomorrow is the deadline. Wei Kailon also reminded coldly. Stupid. Wei Hong gave a middle finger in response, and the three of them were immediately very angry. The aunt they were talking about was the younger sister of Mr. Wei. She married into a big family in Yanjing decades ago. The two families often had exchanges and would keep in touch during festivals. The Wei family had a small population. Apart from this aunt, there were only Wei Jiaoyang's elder sister and younger sister left. The eldest aunt Wei Chunlan married to Yanjing under the introduction of the aunt, and the younger aunt Wei Chouju married to the provincial capital. The backgrounds of the three husbands' families were very good, and they were more prosperous than the Wei group. In the past, every time they went back to their parents' home, they were arrogant. Wei Jiaoyang and his wife had to be submissive and polite in front of them. This time, they invited them back to use their power to pressure others. Master. After getting in the car, Su Maogong frowned and asked, does Wei Jiaoyang really want to expel you from the family tree? He also invited my aunt. What should I do now? What should I do? Wei Hong looked puzzled. I wish I could break off the relationship with them. Now I have got what I want. What should I do? Of course, I will celebrate. Ah. But, Su Maogong was tangled. Subconsciously, he felt that being expelled from the family was a bad thing, but he couldn't tell what was wrong with it. Wei Hong is no longer an ordinary rich second generation. Others need the blessing and wealth of the family, but he doesn't need it at all. Wei Jiaoyang and his wife need to rely on the power and status of their aunt and the two aunts' husbands, and he is also dismissive of this. So, what can they use to threaten people? You were kicked out of the family, it's not good to tell others. Su Maogong hesitated for a long time and persuaded, why don't you talk to them? The old man in heaven may not want to see this scene. Even if I am kicked out of the family tree, I am still my grandfather's grandson. Wei Hong sighed and said leisurely, the old man in heaven only cares about whether I live well, how could he bear to watch me being bullied? In short. Su Maogong reminded again, the ant is not easy to mess with, you should be nicer and don't get into trouble with her. Chapter 79. You are listening at novelfull.audio. December 29 A private plane arrived at Jiangzhou International Airport. Wei Linlang personally led 12 bodyguards and 9 luxury cars to clear the way. They came to pick up the plane in a grand manner and successfully met the ant and 2 ants who had just got off the plane. The eldest ant Wei Chunlan and the younger ant Wei Qiuju were well maintained, looking like pampered rich ladies, and every move was noble and elegant. Grandma Wei Xiuying is nearly 70 years old this year. She has white hair and a youthful face, a healthy body, a pair of eyes that reveal shrewdness and wisdom, and a noble aura that makes people dare not look directly at her. The 3 of them were accompanied by bodyguards, private doctors, assistants and other entourages. The group got into the car in a grand manner and drove to the Wei family villa in a swagger. In the car, old lady Wei Xiuying held a cane in her hand, glanced at Wei Linlang and Wei Xing, frowned and said, "Is this Xiao Hong? How come he has changed so much in a few years?" Wei Chunlan was also surprised and sighed, "That's right, haven't we seen each other for 2 or 3 years? How come Xiao Hong has become a little uglier? And darker?" Ant, eldest ant and second ant. Wei Linlang introduced with embarrassment, "This is Xiaoxing, the son of our driver Uncle Li. His father died to save my father. He was just adopted a few months ago and has not been formally introduced to you yet." "Hello, ant." "Hello, eldest ant." "Hello, second ant." Wei Xing greeted with a well-behaved face. Wei Chunlan and the other 2 were all rich ladies with high eyes. When they heard that he was just the son of the driver, they couldn't help but curl their lips secretly. They sneered and nodded and said nothing more. Anyone could see that they didn't want to pay attention to this person. "I've heard that my eldest brother and his biological son had a big fight over an adopted son." Wei Qiuju grumbled in dissatisfaction, "I don't know if my eldest brother has lost his mind. He specially asked us to come back from a faraway place this time." "Ant, you don't understand." Wei Linlang sighed and said, "This matter is very complicated. In short, Xiaoxing is a very good person. Wei Hong is vicious and jealous. He can't tolerate Xiaoxing and makes trouble at home. Now the whole family is restless. My father was so angry that he was hospitalized a few days ago. He was so frustrated that he wanted to call you back, open the ancestral temple and ask for the family tree to drive him out of the family. This matter is too big. You can help persuade him when the time comes." That the 3 of them couldn't help but take a breath of cold air when they heard it. Wei Xiuying leaned on her cane and said angrily, "You bastard, Xiao Hong is the only male in our Wei family. Although I, an old lady, look down on this nephew, I can't drive him out of the house, right? Nonsense. What are your parents crazy about?" Wei Chunlan and Wei Qiuju also looked unhappy. Wei Linlang sighed and continued, "Since Xiaoxing came to us, he has pushed people downstairs, stolen my mother's design drawings, and done all kinds of messy things. He has been punished and scolded again and again, but he has never changed his bad habits. Some time ago, he whipped my father. He knew that the group was in trouble but did not help him. He also set up his own business outside and said that he wanted to sever ties with us. My father fainted at home a few days ago. He obviously knew medical skills but did not help him. How could our family not be disappointed with such a person?" Wei Linlang kept complaining. Vent out all the dissatisfaction she had accumulated during this period. Wei Xiuying and the other 2 were silent for a long time after hearing this. Just listening to this one-sided statement, Wei Hong seemed to be really excessive. If their family had a son like this, they would probably want to sever ties with him, right? Anyway, I will ask about the details of this matter when the time comes. Wei Xiuying leaned on her crutches and said in a serious voice, "This matter is related to the future of the Wei family, and it is not something your father can decide alone." He. Wei Linlang shook her head and smiled bitterly. Aunt, you want to protect Wei Hong, but he may not give you face. He dares. Wei Xiuying glared, waved her crutches and said coldly, if the young generation is disobedient, be careful of my family's punishment. Okay. If you don't believe it, just watch it. Wei Linlang sighed and said no more. Wei Hong is very determined now, so how could he care about what an old woman said? She also guessed that her parents wanted her aunt to come and teach her son a lesson, so she knew better and didn't say anything more. Wei Xing found an opportunity at this time. He took the time to express his inner thoughts. Wow, is this the Wei family's aunt? She is indeed mighty, domineering, fair and selfless. No wonder she is loved by so many people. Now that she comes to uphold justice, Big Brother can't bully me anymore, right? It's okay for me to be bullied by him, but it's not good for my parents and sisters to be mad at him all the time. Finally, someone can control him. What's that sound? Wei Xiuying and the other two were stunned and subconsciously looked around. After confirming that no one in the car spoke, the three of them immediately focused their attention on Wei Xing. He pretended to be ignorant and said, Auntie, no one is talking. Is it him? Wei Xiuying and the other two couldn't help but take a breath. Just now, Wei Xing's voice did appear in their minds, with the same tone and voice. No matter how stupid they were, they couldn't make a mistake, but he didn't open his mouth. Could it be his inner voice? The three of them were also smart and didn't reveal their flaws on the spot. They just looked at each other and observed silently. Seeing this, Wei Xing continued to work hard to express his inner voice. Oh my God, Auntie has a beautiful bone structure. She must have been a great beauty when she was young. The two aunts are also really beautiful. They are even more elegant and noble than the rich ladies in the movies. The genes of the Wei family are really good, but it's a pity that I'm not of the Wei family. I don't know if Auntie and the two aunts will like me. Wow, I'm the driver's son. They will definitely look down on me, right? But what should I do if I like them so much? I feel so close to them just looking at them. After a burst of inner voice output, Wei Xiuying and the other two couldn't help but look strange. They were shocked to hear Wei Xing's inner voice, and were also surprised by the information revealed in his inner voice. They subconsciously believed that these words were true, and couldn't help but change their impression of him a little. He is a good and well-behaved child. Wei Xiuying coughed lightly, looked Wei Xing up and down, and nodded with satisfaction. Since you have entered our Wei family, you are one of us. In the future, if you need anything or someone bullies you, you can tell me, and I will make the decision for you. Thank you, Aunt. Wei Xing was full of joy. He is indeed a good child. Wei Chunlan smiled and took out a card from her bag, handed it over and said, I didn't buy any gifts for the first meeting. I'm really sorry, this card has 3 million, you take it. I'll give you a card too, a first meeting gift. Wei Qiuju also smiled and stuffed a card over. Thank you, Auntie. Wei Xing accepted the card and continued to express his thoughts. Wow, Auntie and Auntie are so kind and warm. The three of them smiled at each other. Their attitude towards this adopted son of the Wei family also changed unconsciously. Chapter 80. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the afternoon, the Wei family villa gradually became lively. More than a dozen servants were busy cleaning and preparing food, and a 5-star hotel chef was invited to personally prepare the dishes. Anyone who saw it knew that they were welcoming VIPs. When the motorcade arrived at the door, Wei Jiaoyang and his wife, along with their daughters, were waiting at the door to greet them politely. As soon as the car door opened, they all went to greet them. Big sister, little aunt. Wei Jiaoyang forced a smile and said, I'm really sorry to have you come all the way here. No problem. Wei Xiuying, leaning on a cane, got out of the car steadily with the help of a female bodyguard. She looked around and finally fell on Wei Jiaoyang's pale face and white hair. She sighed and shook her head. We women are idle anyway. Such a big thing happened in my mother's family, so I naturally have to come back. Aunt. Big aunt, little aunt, that everyone gathered around to greet them. Wei Shuiying's old face was full of smiles. Okay, you are all good children, let's go in first. The group walked into the villa in a mighty manner. Immediately, a servant brought tea and cakes. Wei Linlang and others were obedient and attentive to ask about their well-being. They served the three people comfortably. Second brother, I heard that you fainted and were hospitalized a few days ago. Are you okay? Wei Shuiying asked seriously. Nothing serious. Wei Jiaoyang smiled bitterly and shook his head, saying, I have been busy with the affairs of the group for many years, so it is inevitable that I have some minor problems. The doctor said that I will be fine after taking care of myself. It's okay. Wei Shuiying glanced at him and asked coldly, where is Xiaohong? Why, he doesn't even want to see me, his aunt, in person. That the atmosphere around him suddenly became cold. Wei Jiaoyang and others looked at the second floor at the same time. It goes without saying that Wei Hong is upstairs at the moment. Asshole. Wei Chunlan scolded impatiently, you don't even know to go out to greet the elders who come to your house. Have you learned the rules from your dog Belly over the years? Aunt Wang, hurry up and invite the young master down. Aunt Wang was embarrassed and explained carefully, the young master doesn't allow anyone to disturb him when he is resting. I can't pass the message. What nonsense are you talking about? Wei Qiuju threw her Hermes bag on the coffee table with a bang, and cursed, don't you know who we are? Let him get down immediately. Do you want us to go and invite him in person? Yes. Wang Ma hurried to the second floor. Just as she was worrying about how to inform Wei Hong, he finally heard the noise and came down. Wang Ma breathed a sigh of relief and hurried to meet him, lowering her voice and saying, Hey, master, please hurry up, the aunts and the others are here, if you don't go over, they will scold you. Scold me? They dare. Wei Hong sneered and walked calmly towards the hall. He was not as flustered as everyone imagined. Children of large families, especially the second generation of rich people, would often shrink back like mice seeing a cat once their elders came forward. Wei Shuiying, this aunt, had an average relationship with Grandpa Wei. In the past, she often had a bad face when she saw Wei Hong. Wei Chunlan and Wei Qiuju, the two aunts, were okay. Although they did not spoil him, they did not treat him badly. In addition, their husbands' families were quite powerful, so they had a lot of say in their natal families. Now three people are coming at the same time. If it were Wei Hong in his previous life, he would naturally be scared and uneasy, but now he walked to the wine cabinet openly, poured himself a glass of red wine first, and then sat on the sofa under the various looks of everyone, and said expressionlessly, Oh, you want to play a three-court trial? If you want to fart, do it quickly, don't waste everyone's time. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone's face changed slightly. Wei Jiaoyang obviously didn't expect that his son would be so crazy. He was so carefree and fearless in front of the three elders. Others were also surprised. In the past, when Wei Shuiying, the aunt, came to visit, wasn't he respectful like a grandson? Why is he so arrogant today? Okay. Wei Shuiying's face changed on the spot, narrowing her triangular eyes and looking gloomy and scary. Originally, she was still thinking if there was any misunderstanding. As the only remaining ancestor of the Wei family, she could just enlighten the younger generation. Now she is sure that there is no misunderstanding at all. This kid really took the wrong medicine and became lawless. Kneel down. Wei Shuiying scolded with a stick. The terrible aura that he had cultivated for decades in a high position was like a tidal wave, almost no weaker than that of Mr. Wei in the past. One look was enough to scare people. Wei Sheng and others almost knelt on the ground with their legs weak. Wei Hong, as the person involved, curled his lips in contempt. Not only did he ignore this intimidation, instead of sexual behavior, he picked his ears in boredom. Little bastard. Wei Shuiying was so angry that her chest was heaving up and down, and she shouted coldly, Old woman, I came all the way from Yanjing, and this is how you treat the elders of the family? What about the etiquette rules from childhood to university? Kneel down. Etiquette rules are for people. Do you think I will treat you as human beings? I kneel down, your uncle kneels down, who do you think you are? Wei Hong directly retorted without any courtesy. Everyone was shocked. no one expected that he would speak so viciously. Wei Xiuying was so angry that her heart ached. You. Seeing this, Wei Chunlan slammed the table and scolded, "You little brat, are you crazy? Who taught you to talk to your elders like this? Do you have any rules?" Wei Qiuju also scolded with a frosty face, "Before I came here, I heard how unruly you were, but I didn't believe it. Today I see that it is true. You don't have the demeanor of a child of our Wei family at all. If I were the eldest brother, I would not only expel you from the family tree, but even break your hands and feet and drive you out. It would not be too much." Wei Hong looked at the three people and sneered, although they had no grudges against him, but the majesty of being an elder cannot be disobeyed. This is the bottom line of the superior. Today they came here to support Wei Jiaoyang. Naturally, they were arrogant and looked down on him. If Wei Hong had a debate as they wished, he would definitely be suppressed by these people with family affection and justice, and finally forced to cry and confess to his parents. Unfortunately, he has never been a person who likes to take the ordinary path. A daughter who is married off is like water spilled out. You three have been spilled out for decades, right? Wei Hong took a sip of wine and said sarcastically, "You still want to intervene in your mother's family affairs now? Aren't you stretching your hands too far? When I'm in a good mood, I call you aunt. If I'm in a bad mood, I call you an old man. What can you do to me? Don't you just want to break off the relationship? Can't you be straightforward? What are you talking nonsense? You really think I have a lot of time and am in the mood to play a big show with you, right?" After saying that, he kicked the coffee table. The huge movement scared everyone's heart and trembled wildly, and their eyes were full of fear and horror.